All right, hi everybody. Welcome to another live stream here on WooEnglish. I see you guys are already waiting for us. So, welcome guys to another live stream and I hope you are doing great. I hope you had a fantastic week. And I hope that you are ready for the weekend as well. So, I see Amin is already here. I think Amin, we missed you during the last session. We didn't see you. So, I'm very glad that you are here today. And also, I can see that our friend Ahsanol is also here after a long absence. So, welcome, guys. I hope you are doing great. And share with me how was life so far, and where you guys have you been? I know Amin, since I'm a teacher. I know Amin has just finished uh, their exams because we did the same. We have finished our exams. So yeah, so welcome, guys, and as always, let me just very quickly remind you of the idea of our channel and what we are doing today. So our channel is Woo English. It's a channel dedicated to learning English through stories. We believe that the best way to learn English is to learn, or any language, as I always say, is to learn language in context. All right, learning random words will not make you remember them well, but all right. But learning the words in context, that's the best way to learn them. And the best context that you can learn words in are stories, because stories are engaging, you are engaged, you love the story, you are listening to it, etc. So we believe that's the best way to learn English. And yeah, so today we are going to have part two of the Vietnam War. We started it before. We noticed that that video attracted a lot of attention. Some people criticized it, some people liked it. So we're going to discuss that today if you guys are okay. I had to attend my school. That's why I wasn't able to attend the best class. Thank you. I had to sleep early. Thank you, Astanol. And I hope everything went well with you. Don't forget, guys, to kindly like this video, because when you like it, you are uh, giving YouTube a chance to spread the video more and to suggest it to other people, to recommend it to other people so that they too can join and can benefit from what we are doing today. And also, they can join the discussion. And I always love to have more people in my live stream so that we can have like more ideas. So let me see. Already, David. Thank you so much, Arsenal. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. So as I said, today we are gonna have part two of the Vietnam War. Okay, the Vietnam War. But before we go to Vietnam War, let us play a little game that I really love to play, and the game is Hangman. I think most of you are familiar with Hangman. So Hangman basically is a game where I give you, for example, let's start with this simple word. All right. So I have for you here a word of one, two, three, four, five, six, seven words, seven letters. Let me just check. Yes, seven letters. And you need to guess it by giving me some letters. Okay, give me letters and I will write them on here. If the letter is correct, I will write it here. But if it's not correct, I will start drawing a man here. I will draw one part for every wrong letter that you give me. And when we if we hang it, or if we hang him, you lose. If you finish the word, you guys win. So can you give me a letter? Give me a random letter, and I will show you how the game goes. So let me probably hide this so that we can do like this, so that it's better, it's clearer for you. All right. So I have for you a word from seven letters. One, two, three, seven letter. Bus. Bus is not seven letters, Asanol. It's not seven letters for sure. So just having a little warm up right now. Give me a letter, one letter. I need one letter, and then I'm gonna show you how this game works. Let me even like make it bigger. I need a letter from someone in the chat. Can someone give me a letter? A random one. Hey, Sally. Hey, how are you? I think I'm gonna give the letter myself. So the letter, imagine you guys said the letter is A. In this word that I suggested here, there is an A actually right here. But if you said A is there, but if you said O does not exist. So I will draw the head, okay? Double boss, no. So you have a letter, there is an A in the third letter, in the third spot. Give me letters, guys. Just one letter. A, B, C, D. Give me one letter, and I'm going to show you how the game goes. Bus drivers are the most skilled workers. I can say that about a lot of workers, not just bus drivers. Do you drive a bus by any chance? But I can say they are very skilled. I'm great. Okay, Sally, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I can say that bus drivers are absolutely great at driving, but are they the best workers? I think there are some other workers that have some skill. No one want to give me a letter? Just give me one letter in the chat. One letter. A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever letter you... Okay. All right. Finally. I have a U, for example. My Arsenal gave us a U. The U, unfortunately, does not exist. So I'm going to draw the body. Give me another letter. Keep them going. Keep the letters coming. Keep the letters coming, guys. So A exists. O does not exist. U does not exist. It's not part of the letter. Wonderful. So I see Sally said E. And E exists. There is E right here. Okay, nice. So I see you guys have started to understand the game. So D does not exist. I'm gonna draw another part. Ahsanol says F unfortunately does not exist. So I'm gonna draw another part. I'm gonna help you. Oh, wait a second. So E, there is an E right here, but there is also an E here. Sorry, I didn't tell you that. So there are two E's. If you know the word driver, but that's not a driver here. No, Sally, it's not a driver because there is no D. H, Benedictus, hey man, how are you? Unfortunately, you said H, right? Oh yeah, H exists. Okay, sorry, H exists. H, it does exist. Good evening, Benedictus. How are you? So there is an H. So what do you think the word S? Ahsanol suggested an S. Unfortunately, the S is no S. No S. You are left with one guess, one letter. Oh, okay. Wait a second. I didn't see the C. The C exists. Sorry, I didn't see the C. Let me keep it on the screen. There is a C, actually. There is a C. So the C does exist. The L does not exist. So that was the last straw. But I'm going to give you one more. I'm going to give you one more guess. If you know the word, tell me the word. If you want to try one more letter, Benedictus said R. R does exist. There is an R. B, Arsenal, no. B, unfortunately, there is no B. And the word that I was looking for is very simply a teacher, okay? A teacher is the word I was looking for. Okay, let us start from the beginning, and let me give you another word. Let me give you another word. All right. Okay, so let me try another word. Let me try. Okay, it's same 7 words, 7 letters. Oh no. Yes, 7 letters. Yes, it's the same. It's 7 letters. Okay. I thought it was beaches. No, but there was an R, Asano. Okay, another word, 7 letters also. Let's try this one. 7 letters. This one will be the last one because we need to start our lesson. Give me letters. I'm gonna take all the letters after this message. After this message. A. Okay. A. Good. A. Oops, let me use the red so that you can see well. A. No A. And we start. All right. No A. Give me another letter. Give me another letter. S. There is an S. Give me 1 second. All right. There is an S for sure. There is an S. Let me add the S. So S, there is an S, and it's right here. Butcher. No. I like it, but no. Butcher is written like this, without the O. All right, Sally? Butcher is just with C, just with you. Give me other letters. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. So far we said there is no A, but there is an S. Give me any letter. And let me tell you, one way to beat this game is to start with vowels. So I'm giving you the best tip for this game. The best tip to beat this game of hangman is to start with vowels. Benedictus says, is there a Z? And unfortunately, there is no Z. So another part for the poor man, E. There is an E actually. So this is the trick. This is the trick. Always start with there is an E and it's right here. Always start with vowels. So there is an E. I. All right. Well, I have 2 I's here and there is an I. There is an I. So there is an I right here. So, give me one more letter. It's seven letters. It starts with E. Around the end, there is an S. L. That's an L, I believe. And L, yes, there is an L. The moment the word starts, like you can see what word I'm talking about, you can just give me the word. Is that a job? No, it's not a job. It's not a job. So for those of you watching, we are just warming up for our listening live stream for today. We are playing Hangman. You give me a letter. If it exists, I will write it. If it doesn't exist, I will start hanging a poor man. And you need to finish, you need to know the word before we finish the hanging of the man, before we finish the drawing. It's a very famous game. T. All right. So for the T, so this is an example. T does not exist. So I will draw another part of this man. You still have 3 more guesses. N. Sally says N. Well, there is an N indeed. The moment, as I said, the moment you can start seeing the word, you can say it. P in the end? Unfortunately, no. There is no P in this word. The word is so easy. I gave you one of the easiest words in this game. D. Come on, guys. There is no D. So you guys are left with one guess, one last guess. It's super easy, this word. Super, super easy. No, that's not a word. Is that a word? Is that even a word? Go on. E, we said E, there is an E, Arsenal, and it's already here. That's the only E in this word. You guys will be surprised. Okay, so I'm gonna reveal the word actually. The word is simply it's English. I win this time again. So the word is very simply English. It was English all the time. I thought it was so easy. I thought it was so easy. You guys probably did not sleep well. It wasn't. That's very interesting because I thought that's the first word you're gonna think about since we are in an English live stream. All right. So I hope that was fun for you. I hope that was just like got you in the mood to start this session. And we are gonna start with a quick review, right? So before we listen, I want to start like Vietnam War. So it's a war that happened in Vietnam. So Vietnam after the Indochina War, Vietnam was. So I'm just giving you context. So Vietnam was colonized by France. When France went out, Vietnam was divided into two. So in the north, there were communists. In the south, there were like kind of capitalists. And basically, they started fighting each other. So it's like what's happening between North Korea and South Korea. So North Korea is communist, South Korea is not. It's more like Western. And they are kind of like imagine them in war. And so they were fighting North Vietnam with South Vietnam. North Vietnam was supported by Russia, or at that time it was called the USSR or the Soviet Union. And the South and America decided to help the South. Okay, so it was kind of a Cold War. So Russia and America were fighting through North and South Korea. So it was the United States supporting South Vietnam against North Vietnam. That's basically Vietnam War. And last time we talked about like how the United States joined joined the war. But before we go, we are gonna start like with this like vocabulary. So we'll see some vocabulary items that we are going to start or that we are going to see in today's listening. So let me read for you the sentences. And I want you to focus on the red words. If you know the meaning of the red words, write them for me in the chat. If you know the meaning of the red words here, write them for me in the chat, please. I'm going to read the sentences just to give you a little, like to show them to you used in context. The Vietnam War had a lasting impact on families across America, affecting their daily lives and emotions. Again, the Vietnam War had a lasting impact on families across America, affecting their daily lives and emotions. What does the word impact mean here? Number two, torn. He was torn between accepting the new job and staying with his current team. He was torn between accepting the new job and staying with his current team. So, what does the word torn here mean? If you know the word, again, you write it for me in the chat. She struggled to cope with the grief of losing her best friend. Grief. She struggled to cope. To cope is to deal with. To cope with grief of losing her best friend. And last one, the word drafted, as in many young men were drafted into the military during the Vietnam War, even if they did not want to serve. Serve meaning serve in the military. Many young men were drafted into the military during the Vietnam War, even if they did not want to serve. What do you think the four words in red mean? Write them for me in the chat. Who was Vietnamese here? Are there any Vietnamese people here? Okay, let me see first what's going on. Thank you so much. So we have a Vietnamese guy here. That's the best thing to ever happen because you are going to be fact checking what's going on. Thank you. So let me say, welcome to Vietnam. Thank you so much, and welcome to our live stream too. Soviet Union, yes, I was happen in the jungle. I completely agree. South Vietnam Vietnam chosen freedom by leader us, but South Vietnam people to be lonely in war. So all right, impact, but people here does not know English, right? Does not know Arabic. Effect. Who was Vietnamese here? Is there anyone Vietnamese here? You answer my guy here, Vu. Taken, stuck. Number 2 is stuck. Okay. All right. So I can say impact is a huge influence. That's good. You can travel this place. Thank you. I hope I can visit Vietnam. It looks like a great country. Torn means happened, not really. Suckers. What? Not really. Grief is a big sorrow. Yes. So I have here two close words. Two close words. Why am I preparing you to see these words? Because you're gonna listen to them. You're gonna hear them in the live stream or in the listening. Okay. So impact, torn. So these are the words. I showed them to you in context. Now tell me which one means which. Impact, torn, grief, and draft. Divided or uncertain, enlisted to the military, sorrow, effect or effect. Effect. Hey, all movies cast. How are you? My president was South Vietnamese. Cool. So yeah, that's amazing. I'm very happy that we have someone from Vietnam today, since we're talking about Vietnam. I saw someone say one is D. Right. Oopsie. All right, one is D for sure. You're correct. One is D. All right. Four is B. Four is B. Four is B. Draft mean enlisted. You are correct. What else? To be drafted here means to be enlisted, conscripted, join the military. Exactly, that's exactly what it means. Aldosari, hi. Where are you joining us from? Which country? Republic of Vietnam have two presidents. Oh, really? How does that work exactly? How does that work? I really love the energy. Cool. Okay. Sir, I know my name. Can you remind me? Can you remind me of your name? Sorry. Can you please remind me about your name? Maybe you changed your logo or something. I don't have the strongest memory. I'm so sorry. Can you remind me of your name? 2 is C. Let me check. 3 is C. So I have one say. 3 is C. Well, actually, 3 is C. 3 is C. Yes. Dosary is correct. Turn is divided. So let me explain them very quick because you are going to hear them in the listening that we are going to do. So impact is the effect. For example, you can have an accident and that can have a big impact on you, meaning a big effect on you. Torn is when this is to tear. To tear something is like this, torn, right? So when you are torn between two things means that you cannot decide. You are torn, right? It's like you are divided. You want to do this and you want to do this at the same time. Grief is a lot of depression and sorrow. And finally, draft. If you are drafted by the military, that means that you are taken and they put you in the military. We call that a draft. All right. So let us go directly, I think, into the listening, guys. I don't want to like waste something directly today. The listening, 3 rules that I always have for you. First, listen carefully because I'm going to ask you some questions. Number 2, when you are listening, if you don't understand a word, ask me in the chat and I'm going to explain to you. And finally, don't forget to like this video because that's your way of helping us back to help you with your English. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the listening. So let's start listening right now. All right, we're going to listen to this chapter. It talks about life in the United States during the Vietnam War. How did Americans see Vietnam War?
Chapter 6. Life at Home. Back in America, the war is everywhere. It is on television screens. It is in newspapers. It is in the hearts of families with loved ones overseas. The Vietnam War feels far away, but its impact is close. People are divided. Some believe the war is necessary. They say, we must stop communism. Others disagree. They call it a mistake. They ask, why are our young men dying in a war we cannot win? The protests begin small. A few students gather on college campuses. They carry signs that say, "Stop the war." They sing songs about peace. They call for an end to the fighting. But the protests grow louder. In cities across the country, thousands march through the streets. They chant, "Bring our boys home." Police try to control the crowds. Sometimes, violence breaks out. A mother watches the protests on TV. Her son is a soldier in Vietnam. She feels torn. She wants her son to be safe, but she also wants him to come home a hero. She whispers,
to whisper is to speak very silently, to speak like in
"Why
someone's
can't there be
ear.
peace?" Soldiers return from the war. They step off planes, looking tired and worn. Families wait at the airport, holding signs and flowers. Some cry with joy. Others cry with relief.
Yeah, because remember, as we saw last time, not all American soldiers came back from Vietnam. A lot of them died. I think like 250. I think that we have seen last time, 50,000, and a lot of them, even the ones who came back, they were changed.
But not all soldiers are welcomed. Some people blame them for the war. They shout, "Baby killers," at the returning troops. The soldiers feel confused. They thought they were fighting for their country. Now they feel rejected. One young man returns to his hometown.
Your hometown is your city, the city where you were born.
He walks down the streets he grew up on. Everything looks the same, but he feels different. The war has changed him. He cannot forget what he saw, what he did. He tries to talk about it. But his friends don't understand. They ask, "What was it like?" He struggles to find the words. He says, "It was hard." But that is not enough to explain the pain inside. Families feel the weight of the war. A father watches the news every night. He hopes for good news but hears only about more battles, more deaths. He worries for his son. He stays awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if his boy will come home. A young wife writes letters. Every day she waits for the mailman. When a letter comes, she reads it again and again. She holds it close, as if it brings her husband back to her. Not all families are so lucky. Some receive a different kind of letter. It comes in a black envelope. Inside, it says, their loved one has died in the war. The grief is too much to bear.
Yeah, the grief means the big sorrow, like we have just seen. The grief was too much to bear, meaning too much to deal with, to handle. We say to bear something is to deal with something and to be patient about it.
At school, children hear about the war. Their teachers talk about Vietnam. The kids ask questions. Why are we fighting?
Exactly. And this is a good thing because the United States at the time was doing a huge propaganda to say that the war in Vietnam was justified, but people, they did not like it. And when the teachers tried to teach about the war in Vietnam, the children were asked very legitimate, very correct questions like, why are they fighting?
When will it end? The teachers try to explain, but the answers are not simple. Television
Exactly.
brings the war into living rooms.
And it was the biggest thing because America, the United States, tried to because unlike other wars, this was the first war that was broadcasted. It was put on TV like it was a show.
Every night, Americans see images of soldiers in the jungle. They see bombs falling on villages. They see children running from danger. The war feels closer than ever. Musicians write songs about the war. One song becomes famous. Its words say, all we are saying is, give peace a chance. The song plays on the radio, in homes, in cars. It becomes the voice of a generation. In Washington, the government feels the pressure. Leaders argue about what to do. Some say, we must win this war. Others say, we must leave Vietnam. The country feels divided, not just about the war, but about its future.
I'm not sure if Arsenal is asking about these two words, but grief is big sorrow, a lot of sorrow, like when you lose someone, and to bear something is to deal with it and to be patient with it and to handle it. For example, to bear grief. Grief is spoken wrong. Okay. So grief is a very difficult when you lose someone, the feeling is too much to handle, meaning to bear, right?
Protests reach their peak in 1969. In Washington, D.C., a massive crowd gathers. Hundreds of thousands march to the Capitol. They hold candles and signs. They demand an end to the war. But the war continues. Soldiers still fight in Vietnam. Families still wait at home. The protests go on, but so does the suffering. The nation feels stuck, unable to move forward. A veteran sits alone in a diner. He drinks his coffee slowly.
Let me go back.
A veteran.
So a veteran is an ex-soldier, is someone who finished as a soldier. We call them a veteran. So old soldiers, we call them veterans.
Sits alone in a diner. He drinks his coffee slowly, staring out the window. He remembers his friends who did not make it back. He feels proud to have served, but he also feels angry. He wonders, was it worth it? In small towns, people show quiet support. They send care packages to the troops. They write letters of encouragement. They hang yellow ribbons on their trees, a symbol of hope for the soldiers' safe return. But not everyone agrees. At dinner tables, families argue. A father says, "We have to win." His son replies, "This war is wrong." The arguments end in silence, but the tension remains. In churches, people pray for peace. They light candles and bow their heads. They ask for an end to the fighting, for the safe return of soldiers, for healing in their divided nation. The war affects everyone, even those far from the battlefield.
Even those who were not fighting in Vietnam, who were still in the United States at home, they were affected. So battlefield is the place where you fight.
A factory worker hears about a neighbor's son who died. A student sees his older brother leave for Vietnam. A mother wonders if her youngest boy will be drafted next.
To be drafted, we said, is to be enlisted, is to be, your name is given to the military so that you should go and serve in the military.
Life at home is full of fear and uncertainty. But there is also hope. Some people believe the war will end soon. They believe their country can heal. They believe peace is possible. They hold on to that hope, even when it feels far away. The chapter ends with a question.
All right, so we're going to stop here because this is the end of this chapter. I just want to focus on one chapter. Can someone here, guys, tell me, so before we go to the detailed question, can you give me the idea of the chapter that we'll listen to? What is the one idea that the whole chapter was talking about? So what was the chapter about? Because this is a very important skill in listening, which is when you listen, you need to be able to say what is the main idea. So what was the main idea of the chapter we listen to right now? Can you write it for me in the chat? Someone said, I don't like the United States. Well, a lot of people don't. Yeah. What was the main idea of the chapter we have just listened to? And the main idea of a chapter should be specific. It should be limited. I know it talked about the Vietnam War, but what did it talk exactly in relation to Vietnam War? Was it the losses? Did it talk about the beginning of the war? Did it talk about the end of the war? What did it talk about exactly? I mean, hey, Vietnam people suffering because of war. A little close, not Vietnam people though. The main idea is about deep impact of war on American people far away from the battlefield. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So the chapter, of course, if there are any other answers, put them in the chat. The chapter did not talk about people in Vietnam. It talked about how Americans in America who were away very far from Vietnam, how did they think? What did they believe about the war? All right. So that was the main idea. And Benedictus put it very, very well. Okay, great. Question one then. And yes, these are some images that that you can find online. These are some images of people who were protesting. So you can see they are holding signs that say end the war now, bring the troops home, stop the war, bring our boys back home alive, because a lot of them came back dead. This is another one, get the hell out of Vietnam, all right? So people were not happy in general with the war in Vietnam, especially in campuses, in universities and in schools. Why did the United States decide to intervene in Vietnam? No. This was not it. Give me a sec. Give me a second to check. Because that was not. questions that I prepared. Okay. Yeah, so the first question is true or false. Asanol said there was a big effect by the war, not only in the battleground or the battlefield, but for also those who are far away from the battleground, mental suffering. Yes, a lot of people either came back dead or they did not come back basically, or they come back handicapped or with mental problems. And a lot of people, let me tell you a very interesting piece of information. A lot of people came back from Vietnam, they either ended themselves or they committed some crimes in the United States because they became unstable, because they have seen very bad things in the United States. All right, question number one. The Vietnam War was only discussed in the newspaper. Sally and Tiago, I didn't ask the question yet. Wait for me to ask the question. The Vietnam War was only discussed in the newspaper. You could only read about the Vietnam War if you read the newspaper. Is that correct? Is that not correct? What do you guys think? Uh, okay, I mean, yes, false. False, says Asanol. I mean, did you finish your exams? How were they? False. False, exactly, Sally. That was good. I came late, by the way. It's okay, man. It's okay. I think you will be able to answer these very well. Advan says false. Okay. I still have 3 more exams. No way. You haven't finished yet? That's weird. Interesting. Okay, false. Tiago says false as well. Yes. The war is everywhere. It is on TV and also on the newspaper. And let me tell you something. The TV was so important because for them, they wanted to broadcast it and show people how heroic the American army is, and we are fighting communism and we are establishing democracy in other countries, not just in the United States. However, the TV had the opposite effect, which is that it helped people see where their boys, where their kids, where their brothers, where their husbands are going. They are going to like a very bad place. And a lot of people started questioning the reason behind the war. Some soldiers were called baby killers when they returned home. So after serving in Vietnam, they came back, they gave them flowers, but did all soldiers receive flowers? Were some of them like called some bad names like baby killers? True. True. They saw the real images exactly. Now Canada needs democracy exactly. Canada is like on fire. And so is the United States. All right, true, true. Victoire, hey, true. Not sure. Have you been watching the whole time? All right, it is true. So when the soldiers came back from Vietnam, some of them were well received. They received flowers, they received signs, they received hugs from their families. But others, they were called baby killers. People shouted at them. All families of soldiers received happy news when the war ended. So when the war ended, everybody said, "Hey, this is a letter. Your boy who went to war did a great job, etc." Were all the letters happy? Miguel. Hello, Victoire. Miguel. Hi. False. False. Can you tell me what is the exact piece of information that we have listened to? What is the exact thing that true? Irfan says it's true. So when the war ended, They sent very happy letters to the families of people who served. Canada right now needs commitment more than democracy. They need a functioning government first, I think. False. First, they need a functioning government for sure. Okay, it is false indeed. So, uh, some families, unfortunately, they received a black envelope. A black envelope. And when they saw the black envelope, they knew it had bad news for them. All right. So imagine the sadness that they felt when they saw and this is, of course, from the text. So a different kind of letter, not just happy ones. It came in black. It came in black envelopes. Inside, it says that their loved one, their kid, their child, their son, their brother, their husband has died in the war. Very unfortunate. The protests reached their peak in 1969 with the massive march in Washington, D.C. Was that in the text? I can't watch the live on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I mean, maybe you have exams then. For being late, I'm unable to answer this question. It's okay. It's okay. Canada needs Trump. Yeah, the man was said that he will make Canada join the United States. How crazy is that? Yeah, a lot of things are happening in 2025 so far. All right, so let's check. This is exactly true. So some protests reached their peak in Washington, D.C. in 1969. Indeed, yes. Choose the right answer. What did some protesters carry during the early demonstrations? Was it flags? Was it signs that say stop the war, or weapons? So when they were protesting, what did people carry with them? So what are the subjects, I mean, that you still have? Did you do English? 31 states this year is gonna be crazy, started with LA. Yeah, unfortunately. I've seen what's going on in LA. It's absolutely scary. So I see a lot of you. Trump is loved. He loves to make news. Exactly. He loves to be like trendy. Size. He's trying to make love, not war. Yeah, that's a good one as well. Make love, not war. Signs that said stop the war. Exactly. All right. Number 2. How did one mother feel about her son fighting in the war? She wished for peace, but also wanted him to return a hero. She wanted him to stay in Vietnam forever. She didn't care about the war. She said, okay, if he comes back, it's okay. Physics, French, and computing. Oh, wow. Yeah, that must suck, man. One. So most of you guys said 1. 3. He didn't care about the war at all. But her son was in the war. Trump is dangerous. Can you elaborate why is he dangerous? The man is very funny, at least. Don't you think? Okay. Yeah. You guys are correct. Yes. So a lot of people, and this was shared by a lot of people, they wished for peace. They wanted peace, but they said, "Well, my son is there fighting. I hope he comes back, and he is a hero." But of course, he's not gonna be a hero like we have seen before. A lot of them were insulted. People called them baby killers. What was the one song that became famous during the Vietnam? And this was in the listening. So they talked about a song. Oops! I pasted. Oh, right. I pasted the question here as well. So is it fight on or give the machine? I'm sorry. Give peace a chance. It was the first one. Sorry. Give peace a chance. That was the one. Trump will ruin America. It's hard to believe that it was Only last year when my son was at war. Which country did he serve in? Which country? He is funny, but he takes his decisions while making jokes. Exactly. Trump will ruin America. No, it was number three. I'm sorry, this one there was a mistake in the first choice. Uh, I want to show you guys. Where is it? Oh my god! I'm gonna show you a song later on. I'm gonna show you a song. What did some veterans feel when they returned home? As I said, a veteran is someone who comes back from war, or a former soldier, a soldier who is retired. We call them veterans. When they came back home, how did they feel? Did they feel fully understood by everyone, rejected and confused, grateful for the war? They were so happy. They said, "Thank you so much for sending us to war." Two. Miguel says two. Arsenal says two. Sally, is it this one? Sally says one. Okay. Benedict says two. Emin says two. All right, you guys. Victor says two. You guys are doing a great job. They felt rejected and confused. They were shocked. All right. They have, yes, they have what we call PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. So they had PTSD. Yeah. So a lot of them. Arfan, where did your son serve? PTSD. A lot of them, they came back in a very, very bad mental state, and that's why a lot of them, unfortunately, they ended themselves. They ended their lives because they came back from a war. They did not understand why that war happened. Why were they participating in the war? They lived like in fear and in stress, and so they developed PTSD. All right. What did families sometimes hang on their trees as a symbol of hope? Red flowers, blue candles, yellow ribbons. I don't know. Three yellow ribbons. Sally says it's two. Blue candles. Amin says it's three. Blue ribbons. Okay. It's yellow ribbons indeed. It's yellow ribbons. Yellow ribbons. And let me show them to you. So these are the yellow ribbons here. So they hanged, I'm guessing three. Yellow ribbons, am I right? You are right. You are right. So it's like in the images that I'm showing you here. So they hang yellow ribbons around trees as a memory of people who lost their lives in Vietnam, right? Or as a memory of what happened in Vietnam. Vietnam War was a big mistake, I think. Great. Last question. Last question. This is a question that I want to ask you. So in this chapter that we listened to, we said that people were protesting, and this is my question: how can, like, your country can go to war tomorrow, and you as a citizen maybe you disagree with that war? So what can you do as a citizen? What can you do if you don't agree with your country going to war? Maybe your country, as I said, God forbids, maybe one country, your country or the country you're living in, will go to war tomorrow. What can you do as a citizen uh, to stop it if you don't agree with it, or to support it? I'm not sure. You tell me in the chat. What do you guys think? Great. Okay. Various estimates say that 9,000 to 50,000 will commit. Exactly. A lot of them, unfortunately, they cannot survive with all the stress they have lived. Protest, Amin said, protest against the war. Democrats and demonstrate. Yeah. don't join the military. But sometimes what happens is that it's obligatory. And if you don't go to the military, you go to jail. All right? If you don't go to the military, you go to jail. Protest is the most powerful thing I can do, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Create awareness, yes, or raise awareness. We say raise awareness. You can tell other people who don't know, people who are probably supporting the war. If you think that the war is not justifiable, there is no reason for the war, you can tell people, hey, we don't want this war. And uh, but unfortunately, as I said, a lot of countries, when they cannot convince their citizens to go to war, they will make it obligatory so that you either go to war or you go to jail. So you choose one of them. You go to one of these two places. Both places are so bad, so you get to choose which one you want to go to. It's either you go to war or you go to jail. You have no choice sometimes. Some real truth about war and try to understand what it is. Or I've heard once, I saw it on social media, it says that war is started by politicians, but then it's the people who are fighting. So it's politicians fighting, but then they send you. So they have conflicts, politicians have conflicts, and then they send someone else to fight in their place. I have a very interesting answer coming up. Uh, what's that? Point out who are beneficiaries and how. Yeah, mostly the only people who benefit. I agree with you, Benedictus. For me, I believe no one benefits from war. Whether you win, whether you lose, you don't benefit from war. So America, for example, they lost 50,000 people, and more, of course, were lost by them. Uh, but the people who really benefit from war are the weapon dealers. People who sell war. I have a very interesting one. Miguel says, "Go to war. If my country goes to war, I'm going to go to war." So Miguel, can you tell us why do you want to go to war? Why do you support war? Do you think war can be justifiable? Yeah, this is a question for everybody actually. Do you think that we can justify war? Can war be justifiable? What do you think? Especially when politicians were lobbied by weapon companies, exactly. A lot of politicians who vote, who say, yes, we need to go to war, they have weapon companies. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I've seen there was a very interesting documentary that I've seen once. It's crazy. All right, guys. So with that, I think we finished this live stream. I just want to remind you to go to our channel. There are a lot of videos that you can watch. You can watch them for free. We have words that you can benefit from. So you can go make yourself at home. Uh, Subscribe if you haven't yet. If you want to join us, consider that. Let me read what you guys are writing before we pop off. The individual citizen had numerous ways to influence government. Some of these, such as writing letters to public officials, I love this. Joining interest groups and supporting lobbying efforts, I really love this, and are private. I love your answers. Nature, the structure of government itself, however, provide other avenues of a more formal character. Miguel says, he needs to join the war because it is my responsibility as a citizen. Okay, maybe if the war is justifiable, okay, I don't know, but yeah, I accept that. Like for everyone, each person has their own reasons to believe what they believe. So with this note, I think we should end our live stream. I see you on Tuesday, guys. Tuesday, don't forget. New lesson, new live stream. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. I wish you all an amazing weekend. Enjoy your weekend and make sure to spend some time with your loved ones. Thank you so much for your support and